are 20 things, the Atman, etc., to which the bodhisattva is not attached because they do not exist. The reasons they do not exist have been explained above in many ways. The views about the Atman, the subject that knows and the subject that sees, as well as the views about the Buddha and the Sangha are derived from the emptiness of beings and cannot be accepted. All the others, from the view of extinction and of eternity up to the view about the disciplines, cannot be accepted because of the emptiness of phenomena. Question. The other views are well known, but what is the view of causes? Answer. All conditioned dharmas are cause and fruit in turn. But the mind, being attached to these dharmas and grasping at their characteristics, gives rise to the wrong view here called view of causes. Thus, for example, one speaks of fruit without cause, or one claims that cause and fruit are identical, different, etc. 1. Sutra. This bodhisattva of the seventh ground must completely fulfill 20 things. What are they? Completely fulfilling emptiness. This is completely fulfilling the emptiness of specific characteristics. Sastra. The bodhisattva who practices the 18 emptinesses completely fulfills emptiness. Moreover, practicing the two kinds of emptiness, the emptiness of beings and the emptiness of phenomena, is to completely fulfill emptiness. Finally, the bodhisattva who practices the absolute emptiness but is not attached to it completely fulfills emptiness. Question. If that is so, why does the Buddha not speak about the emptiness of specific characteristics here? Answer. Because the three kinds of the emptiness of which we have just spoken are the emptiness of specific characteristics. When he was in the sixth ground, thanks to his merits, the bodhisattva had keen faculties and, by means of these keen faculties, he still distinguished dharmas and grasped their characteristics. That is why, now that he is in the seventh ground, the emptiness of specific characteristics constitutes for him the fullness of emptiness. Sometimes the bodhisattva sets out the emptiness of the conditioned and the emptiness of the unconditioned as being the fullness of emptiness. Sometimes he propounds the emptiness consisting of non-perception as being the fullness of enmptiness. 2. Sutra. Attesting to signlessness. That is to say, not thinking about any mark. Sastra. Signlessness is nirvana. It can be vouched for, but it cannot be meditated on. Since it cannot be meditated on, one cannot pretend to know it. Since it is immense, infinite and unimaginable, one cannot claim to fulfill it completely. 3. Sutra. Knowing what does not deserve to be thought about. The fact that the bodhisattva's mind does not function in regard to the triple world. Sastra. The three things sunyata, animitta and apranihita, although they are penetrations, are knowledges. But here the sutra brings up a modification for the first two and, in place of calling them knowledges, calls them fullness and attestation, respectively. Here apranihita is the only one to be called knowledge. Above I spoke about the three gates of deliverance. I will not repeat it here. 4. Sutra. Purifying the three groups completely. That is to say, purifying entirely the 10 good paths of action. Sastra. The three groups are the 10 good paths of action. The first 3 are physical, the next 4 are vocal and the last 3 are mental. It is a matter of purifying them completely. In some people, the physical acts are pure and the vocal acts impure. In others, the vocal acts are pure and the physical acts are impure. In others still, the physical and vocal acts are pure and the mental acts impure. In yet others, the three kinds of acts are pure but they have not rejected the prejudices about them. Here in the bodhisattva of the seventh ground, the three kinds of action are pure and he has rejected prejudices about them. This is why it is said that he has purified the three groups. 5. Sutra. Completely fulfilling pity and compassion towards beings. And he does this by taking possession of great compassion. Sastra. There are three kinds of compassion. 1. That which has beings as object. 2. That which has things as object. 3. That which has no object. Here it is a matter of great compassion without an object, which is the fulfillment of compassion. Since dharmas are empty of inherent nature and the true nature of things itself is empty, the compassion of the bodhisattva is called great compassion without object. The bodhisattva of the seventh ground has deeply penetrated the true nature and then has compassion for beings. He is like a man, father of a single son, who, having found a precious object, wants to give it as a gift to his son out of his profound affection. 6. Sutra. Not thinking of any being. And he does this by completely fulfilling his Buddha field. Sastra. Question. If the bodhisattva does not think of beings, how can he purify his Buddha field? Answer. By leading beings to establish themselves in the 10 good paths of action, the bodhisattva had already purified his Buddha field, but such adornment was not yet an obstacle-free adornment. Now in the seventh ground, the bodhisattva ripens beings but does not grasp the characteristic of being. His roots of good and his merits are pure and, because of this purity, he adorns his Buddha field without obstacle. 7. Sutra. Seeing the equality of all dharmas without being attached to it. This is not adding anything to and not taking away anything from dharmas. Sastra. See what has been said above about dharma samataksanti. Here the Buddha himself says that it is not adding anything to and not subtracting anything from dharmas. 8. Sutra. Penetrating the true principle of all dharmas, but not thinking about it. This is not penetrating the true principle of all dharmas. Sastra. This has already been fully developed above in many ways. 9. Sutra. Adherence to non-production. This is adherence to non-production, non-destruction, non-formation of all dharmas. Sastra. It is believing and understanding, without hindrance or regression, the true nature of dharmas, having neither production nor destruction. 10. Sutra. Knowing non-production. This is knowing the non-production of name and form. Sastra. The sutra first mentions adherence. Next it speaks of knowledge here. Adherence is coarse whereas knowledge is subtle. Here the Buddha himself says that is a question of knowledge about the non-production of name and form. 11. Sutra. Declaring the single characteristic of all dharmas. This is because the bodhisattva's mind does not move into duality. Sastra. The bodhisattva knows that the 12 bases of consciousness, both internal and external, are the net of Mara, deceivers and unrealities. The 6 kinds of consciousness arising from these 12 bases are themselves the net of Mara as well and deceivers. Then what is